What's going on, guys? It's Jack here, checking out another NBA draft prospect. Looking at Ojeleye, the forward from SMU, transferred in from Duke after a season and a half. And he's from Kansas. He was a local high school scoring star. He averaged near 30 points a game in high school. So it made sense that he transferred back into a similar area of the country. And at SMU, he was given the opportunity that he didn't receive at Duke. And at Duke, there was a lot of competition at the 3-4 position, and Ojeleye struggled to see the court. He was finally given the opportunity at SMU, and he took advantage of it this past season, averaging 19 points and 7 rebounds. He also shot 53% from 2 and 42% from 3 on 5 attempts a game, as well as 78% from the foul line on 6 attempts. These numbers are from Draft Express. He was also a smart player, 1.4 turnovers a game and only 1.8 fouls a game. Now, those two numbers we'll get into a little deeper later and, dissect them a little bit more. But it just goes to show his overall numbers. He was an efficient scorer this past season on a positionless SMU basketball team that had a number of high-caliber talents that are going to be, in conversation at the very least in this NBA draft class. And Ojeleye is one of the guys at the forefront at 6'7", 235 pounds. He's very chiseled. This guy, when he first came into Duke, he was one of my favorite young players to just watch because he had such freak athleticism. He had the jumper. It was confusing to me as to why he wasn't able to see any time at Duke, but part of that is just because Coach K has limited trust. He only goes so deep in his bench, and Ojeleye tended to be the guy who is just outside of that main rotation. He's a freak athlete, guys. This guy jumps out of the gym. At the combine, 41-inch max vertical, goes to show that this guy really, is one of those elite athletes in this class. Now, Ojeleye, to me, I do have some concerns. One is defensively, he only averaged 0.4 steals and 0.4 blocks. And I know, steals, blocks aren't the best indicators of defensive success, but from college to pros, you'd like to see somebody, if they're going to have defensive success at the next level, you'd like to see that steal number be at least 1. And so that number is a bit concerning, whether he has those defensive instincts that you look for. He's also more of a 4 or maybe even a small ball 5 type player than he is really a true wing. And that's important to note. I think people are trying to put him in a 3 and D type role, and I don't think that he's as comfortable in that role as you would like somebody to be. And therefore, I think he could be very successful as an undersized 4-man who... Well, he's not really undersized anymore, but, if you look back as a guy who's only 6'7", 230, 235 there, he definitely has the chance to become a guy who at the 4 position is a mismatch, both on the offensive end and has the defensive athleticism to compete. But defensively, he needs to improve his awareness, his reads, and just overall, also laterally, I want to make this point as well. Explosive, player as he is, laterally on the defensive end of the court, he's not quite there yet. He's not limber as you'd like him to be, and that's something he can definitely work on and improve. But as of right now, it's important to note that is a struggle on the defensive end. Now, those two numbers I noted earlier, 1.4 turnovers, well, he didn't have the ball in his hands a ton, but you do like to see that low number because there are tons of players in college who don't have the ball a lot and turn it over way more than they should. So that's a solid number. Now, 1.8 fouls, I think, while a good number, I think also was an indication of his lack of aggression on the defensive end of the court. And just something that, at the next level, he's going to have to change. He's not going to be in the role of the go-to scorer that he was at SMU, and he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot less. And so he's going to have to become much more comfortable in catch-and-shoot situations, which he was, pretty effective on this season, but more a streaky shooter than a consistent one, I would say, and a guy who, again, was more comfortable with the ball in his hands. So he's going to have to adjust to that and becoming more defensive, just becoming a better defensive presence. With his athleticism, that should improve, but there's no guarantees, and so you got to wait and see if he can show it on the court. Ojeleye, to me, is a guy who I have in the early second round portion of this draft class, a guy with supreme athleticism, offensive scoring ability, but needs to fill out the other parts of his game to become an impactful player at the next level, especially since those other parts of his game are going to be what he's initially asked to do. And so therefore, I could see a guy like Ojeleye struggling early on until he, feels more comfortable in his role as a guy who's a four-man, who can roll to the basket, shoot the three, and use his athleticism to make plays in the open court as well. Guys, let me know what you think about Ojeleye from SMU. Do you think he's going to have success at the next level? Where do you think he might get drafted? Remember to comment, share, subscribe, and like this video. Let me know what other prospects and what other types of NBA draft videos you want to see me profile. Thanks, guys. I'm out.